Right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about shoulders today. So we're going to have a look at some shoulder mobility work. So whenever we have a tightness or a restriction in our shoulders, we often get quite a lot of pain and discomfort. And the less mobility we have, the less we move them, so therefore the less mobility we have, and it becomes this really vicious cycle. So what I wanted to try and do is create something for you to do at home where you can mobilise your shoulders, keep them nice and free, keep them moving, and hopefully keep them pain-free. So here we go. If you grab hold of your band, we're going to start with one of my favourite exercises, which is a halo. Now, if you already have shoulder problems, you might find this movement quite challenging. So you might need to make it a little bit smaller. It might start here, it might have a little bit more of a bend, you might need to give yourself a little bit more band. Eventually what we want to try and get is a little resistance on the band and get the arms and the shoulders moving all the way around. So we have a really good bend of the knees and we let the shoulders reach all the way backwards. So you can see how we're getting some really lovely movement through both shoulders. And then we're going to go the other way around. So both circles, nice big stretch. As you do so, keep your knees soft. So we're not locking into the joints, keep the hips nice and free as well. They'll want to move as well. Okay, so the next one I want us to have a look at are our band up and overs. So from here you take hold of your band and we reach all the way up, over and then all the way back. And again, if you're finding your shoulders just aren't really appreciating that, give yourself a little bit more band so that we have a bit more freedom. So up and over, up and back. And you might find that one shoulder feels a little bit crunchy, one goes a little bit wonky. Try as best you can to keep them as even as possible. Okay, and then have a rest. So losing your band, next up we're going to have a look at something called a bow and arrow. So we're going to take our arms out in front of us like this. We're going to pull one elbow back, and you can see how I've rotated, opened out across the chest here, then reach forwards. Other side, pulling back, rotation. Open the chest, and pull, and reach, and pull, and reach. And we can make this a little bit more rhythmical, so it becomes a little bit more flowing like this. We're going to try and keep the hips fairly still. What we don't want to do is borrow the movement from the hips and actually miss that rotation in the shoulder and in the middle of the spine. But we want to try and create a nice free-flowing movement. From here we're going to add on, and we reach forwards, we extend the arm behind you, and then come back. So I'll show you this way. We reach back, extend the arm, and then close. Draw the bow and arrow, extend it, and close. Draw, extend, and close. And we can play around with what our head does in this one. We can keep the head facing straight forwards, which will create a little stretch through the neck. Or what we can start to do is turn towards the back. So have a go at doing both, head facing forwards for a few, and then head turning for a few. And there's no set number, you don't have to do 10 or 20 or however many it is. Your body will know, you'll know when you've done enough. You might find that your shoulders feel a little achy having held your arms out for a bit. So remember, we're looking for freedom of the shoulders, not to work them too hard. Okay, our next one, I call these dancing arms, I don't know why. So from here we come like this, so we have one arm up, one arm down, and then from here we're going to rotate like this. So we're going to keep the palms facing forwards, and what we're thinking of is imagining your arm bone, your humerus here, is going into a key, and we're trying to lock and unlock the key. So it's not just the wrists flipping, the whole arm rotates, like so. And what you might find is when you go down on one side, there's a bit of restriction. So keep moving, keep nice and mobile. Just do as many as you're able to. Okay. So that's dancing arms part one. Dancing arms part two, we can take the arms out to the side. You're going to turn one palm down and let it roll all the way down, and this one's going to roll all the way up. Then we roll and roll. And this is like something you would watch on Strictly, with some kind of like swishy hip. So rotating, rotating. So really getting the whole of the arm working, the whole of the shoulder working. Okay, and give the arms a little shake. Okay, so next one I want us to think of the shoulders rounding forwards and then the chest opening out. So we're going to come from this position here like we've been punched in the belly, folding forwards, and then we're like a proud gymnast, you know, when they set their position. So punched in the belly, proud chest up, punched in the belly, and lift. So rolling forwards, rolling open. And we can add some breath work to this as well. So we breathe in, feel that stretch across the back of the ribs, breathe out. And if we roll the hands in as well, we get a little bit more work in the shoulder and roll them out. So all the way in, all the way out. Once more. Lovely. Okay, so this next one, we're going to take a little bit of kind of focus on the brain. So what I would suggest doing is imagining you're doing a tricep stretch. So you come from here, and then the other hand is going to meet you like this. So from here, we're going to take the arms round, and then do the other side. So if I show you from behind, you might be able to see it a bit better. So we go from here, tuck behind, from here, tuck behind. Now, you may find that it gets to about here, and that's as far as you can go. That's fine, just make a note of where you are now, and then with some little bit of work, remember soft tissue can be manipulated, we can start to improve that flexibility and that mobility around that joint area. You might find that one side needs absolutely fine. You can see when I do this side, it's a little bit harder. This is the side I tore my rotator cuff, so for me it's a little bit trickier. But at one point I couldn't even get my hand here, so we'll take the win. So always celebrate those little victories when your body does something that it's not been able to. Right, last one of these then. And then from here we're going to make what I call stars. So we're going to open out the arms like this, like a big star shape, and open up like this. And if we think of day-to-day life, everything we do is very forward focused. We're here on our laptops, driving our cars, doing our housework and chores, doing kids' homework. Everything's very, very forward. So it's really lovely to open up that chest. And then to add on a little bit more, if you flex the wrist back, so your wrist is bent like this, you'll find it's a really amazing stretch down into the arm and into your bicep as well. Keep going. And then once more. Oh, lovely. Right, your shoulders now should feel nice and awake, nice and warm, and a little bit more free, a little bit more movement to them. So have a go at doing that. You don't have to do it every day, but if you can imagine if you did it twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, even if you just pick a couple of the exercises, the ones that feel kind of most beneficial to how your shoulders are feeling. Imagine how in a month, how your shoulders will feel. So give it a try, let me know how you get on, and I hope that this has been helpful for you.